Hello, we have Clayton Jarling from Salt Fork High School. He's a senior, and we're going to ask him a few questions about vaping. Have you ever seen anyone vape in the restrooms?
Yes, I have.
What age group were they?
Freshmen, actually.
Were they all freshmen?
Most of them. Probably about 90% of them.
What kind of vapes mostly being used?
A Juul,
What is a Juul?
a flash drive.
Okay. Have you ever vaped?
No.
Do you ever plan on vaping?
No.
What could the young kids do about vaping?
Chew gum, like I am.
Thank you. Hello, I'm here with Colton Earls, who is a sophomore at Salt Fork High School. I'm going to ask him a few questions about vaping. Have you ever seen anyone vape inside the classroom?
Yes, I have.
Did the teacher see this?
No, they did not.
Do you know of anyone who has gotten in trouble with a vape?
Yeah, a couple of people, actually.
What's your advice to young kids that haven't started vaping yet?
Just stay away from all that and stay away from all the nicotine products. Not good, you know? Not good.
Thank you. The spread of teen vaping is our first main concern in our report. And to all that is watching, thank you. This is Peyton Taylor from SFS Today. Vaping has been the biggest concern lately as it's a constant spread in and out of schools. Many teens think it is cool, but really, you are just killing your body internally. The most common type of vape is a Juul, which contains nicotine, which is a highly addictive chemical. All chemicals in Juuls could cause possible risk of cancer and disease. The teens need to start eating their greens and stop hitting their Juul because they look like a fool. Next on, we have Caleb Hurt, who is going to be talking about the 2020 presidential election and how the candidates plan on taking on the election.
Alright, so in politics, we are talking about the 2020 presidential election and the nominees running for president. First, we have Joe Biden. He is a 6-term U.S. Senator, and he was the 47th Vice President of the United States. He has also ran for president. This would be his 3rd time. He first became a senator in 1972, and he was re-elected 6 times as a senator out of Delaware, and he only resigned so that he could become the vice president. He served for 8 years as the vice president for Barack Obama. He first ran for the Democratic nominee in 1988 and was considered an early favorite, but was quickly forced to drop out of the race. He again tried to seek the Democratic nominee in 2008, and his campaign was quickly set back by a couple of remarks that he made and caused him to struggle his whole campaign and withdrew the night of after the results of the Iowa caucus. One of his top issues is education. He says that he will triple the funding for the public schools, and he will require schools to use this funding to raise the teachers' salaries, and he would also look to double the amount of counselors and social workers that are currently in schools. Another big issue Biden wants to tackle is immigration. Biden wants Congress to pass the DREAM Act, which would allow a pathway to citizenship for immigrants, and strictly opposes Trump's current stance on immigration. Often characterized as a moderate Democrat, he has had some up and downs during this campaign run, but has consistently polled at the top or near the top of every Democratic poll. Next is Elizabeth Warren. She has been a U.S. Senator since 2012, and she is a former law professor at Harvard. She's a former stay-at-home mom who later went to law school. She went on to be a professor at multiple major universities, including the University of Pennsylvania and the University of Harvard. Warren was considered an expert on bankruptcy laws. She later was brought on as advisor for multiple presidential administrations to help with Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Warren first ran for political office in 2012 and won a Senate seat out of Massachusetts, and was the first female senator to ever come from Massachusetts. She won re-election in 2018, and many Democrats wanted her to run for president in 2016, but she repeatedly turned down those calls to run for president. She announced that she would run for the 2020 presidential election. It was considered a very early favorite to win the Democratic nominee. Warren wants to rebuild the middle class and believes that Washington only works for the people at the top, and she wants to do everything she can to change this. Next is Bernie Sanders. He was a runner-up in the 2016 Democratic primaries. He's a senator from Vermont. He has somewhat socialist ideas. Born in Brooklyn, New York, and a graduate at the University of Chicago, Sanders is the longest-serving independent in the U.S. Congress ever. He served as a U.S. representative from Vermont for 16 years, and then he served as a senator from Vermont since 2008. He ran against Hillary Clinton for the 2016 Democratic nominee and finished runner-up to her and decided to run for it again this year. Sanders has always been a progressive and always calling for change. Sanders supports free college tuition, also his strong opposition to economic inequality. He has been in political spotlight ever since his run for president in 2016, and his views have had a big influence on the Democratic Party's politics ever since. Next is Kamala Harris, senator from California, former Attorney General of California, and former San Francisco District Attorney. She has served as San Francisco's District Attorney and was later elected the Attorney General of California in 2010. She has been a U.S. Senator since 2016, and she attended Howard University and University of California Hastings College of the Law. One of Harris's main points is that she wants to raise income for working families by $500 a month for each family who makes under $100,000 a year. There has been a lot of talk recently on whether or not Kamala Harris should drop out of the Democratic primary race due to her recently poor polling, even though she opened as a very early favorite. She has spoken on this issue and said that she does not want to drop out until after the Iowa caucus, if that does come, which is not until February 2020. Next, Democratic nominee is Pete Buttigieg. He's a mayor of South Bend, Indiana, and a former military veteran. Buttigieg is a graduate of Harvard and Oxford universities. He served as an intelligence officer in the United States Navy Reserve and was deployed to Afghanistan. He later came out as gay in 2015, and he has served as the mayor of South Bend, Indiana since 2011. He supports policies that would make larger changes to how we currently run our government. If elected, he would be the first openly gay and youngest president ever to hold presidential office. Also, he is starting to make a climb up in polls after polling very well in Iowa this past week. Buttigieg has made a plan that if elected, he would double down on the United States' climate change efforts and would get the U.S. back in the Paris Agreement that Trump took us out of. When it comes to criminal justice reform, he would make some major changes and add funding to some organizations to help one change. He would make it that he would also decriminalize drugs by making every drug illegal to possess. The incumbent president, Donald Trump is the incumbent president and is one of the most controversial presidents, is a very controversial president. He currently has an impeachment inquiry against him. In Trump's first 4 years of being the president, he has been able to make a lot of improvements in the nation's economy, especially in creating jobs for more people. There has been over 4 million new jobs created since Trump has taken over office. Last quarter, the growth was over 4%, and almost 3.9 million Americans have been taken off of food stamps since Trump has been in office. He has also done some things to help fight against the opioid epidemic sweeping across America by securing $6 billion in new funding for this fight, also decreasing opioid prescriptions by 16%. Trump faces a lot of bad press and a lot of harsh scrutiny from people, but he also has a lot of people out there that strongly support him. There's still a lot of time between now and the 2020 election, and polls can try to predict what will happen on election day, but nothing really matters until that final election day result. Whoever wins the presidency will have a major impact on the country and the rest of the world for years.
Thanks, Caleb. If you want a cup of Joe, come to Saltport. Here at Saltport High School, we have recently had plenty of new additions to our school. One of the most popular additions is a new coffee shop, which is open every Friday at 7:45. The next best newest addition happened over the summer and added a better look to the high school. It's the parking lot. Josh has taken a deeper view in these new additions.
What gave you the idea?
I've had the idea for several years and I've been researching it, but I was nervous to ask if they would allow it, and so I finally asked Mr. Chambliss and Mr. Cox if I could do the coffee shop, and they were all for it, and so I did a little bit more research and started the coffee shop.
Do you plan on keeping it open all year?
Yes, I plan on keeping it open all year. I had to change a little bit to what most coffee shops do in their schools, because most of the life skills classes just go around with a cart, but that doesn't really work for our building since we have multiple levels and we don't have an elevator. So this coffee shop, how we have it set up now, works best for us.
Do you plan on keeping it open in the future school years?
Yes, I plan on keeping it open as long as we have the students interested in working it and the students interested in getting coffee.
Thank you. What's your favorite thing about working in coffee shops?
Probably fun as hell.
What's your favorite coffee?
Black coffee.
Just black?
Yeah.
Thank you, Scott. What's your favorite thing about working in the coffee shop?
My favorite thing about working in the coffee shop is that you get to use two machines to make hot chocolate and coffee, so it's a lot more easier and quicker to get it done.
What's your favorite coffee to make?
Regular coffee, I guess.
So what is your part with the coffee shop?
I come in on Thursday afternoons with Scotty and Taylor, and we get everything ready on Thursday night, so all we have to do is come in and plug everything in.
And what's your favorite part about the coffee shop?
I get to see kids during the day that I don't normally see, so they come in, it's a relaxed atmosphere, so it's fun for them.
Thank you. I'm here with Zane Sanford, a sophomore here at Salt Fork High School, and I'm going to ask you a couple questions about the coffee shop.
Okay.
How do you feel about the coffee shop?
Dude, I've been drinking coffee since I was like 3 years old. Okay, and this is the best gosh darn coffee I've had my entire life.
Do you wish it was open on more days than just Friday?
Dude, I wish it was open every single day, including Saturday and Sunday.
I'm here with Principal Chambliss of Salt Fork High School to talk about the new parking lot Salt Fork has just received this past summer. How do you feel about the new parking lot?
I think it was a major upgrade from what we had. Obviously, it was we had a lot of drainage issues previously, which have all been taken care of as a result.
Do you think the new parking lot added more parking space for
It
students?
did not add new spaces. It kept the same amount. We have the same amount of spaces now as we had before. They're just actually marked.
Why can't students park in the empty staff spots?
We have one section for staff parking, and that's who it's for, staff parking. So students have the run of any other place, but unfortunately, when a staff member comes, whether it's middle of the day or beginning of the day, they have to be guaranteed a spot's available. Staff's not going to park out back. That's where students should be parking.
And if there's one thing you could change about the new parking lot, what would it be and why?
I wish we could have afforded to extend it into it's going to be eventually extended into the baseball field. I wish we would have had the money to do that now, but unfortunately we did what we could for now. So I think that would probably be the only thing I'd change, is be able to extend that to create more parking availability.
Thank you.
Cool. I'm here with Levi Uhas, a junior here at Salt Fork High School. And how do you feel about the new parking lot?
It still sucks. It's small and there's not enough places to park.
Do you think it's an improvement from the other one?
Well, there's no more potholes, but it still sucks.
What's one thing you would change and why?
Make more spots because we don't have enough places to park.
Thank you. With Lane Tate, a junior here at Salt Fork High School, to ask you a few questions about the new parking lot. First one is, how do you feel about the parking lot?
It's an improvement, but it still sucks.
Do you really think it's an improvement from the old one?
Yes, there's more parking spaces, but it's still kind of close together.
What's one thing you change about it and why?
Make it bigger.
Thank you. I'm here with Michael Jones, a sophomore here at Salt Fork High School, to ask you a few questions about the new parking lot. First one is, how do you feel about the new parking lot?
Well, it's pretty nice. Seems to be a bit too much teacher parking spots. Mr. Chambliss there doesn't even park in a spot. I don't really know what to say except that. So yeah.
Do you think it's an improvement from the old one?
Honestly, I don't really remember the old one because because we got the new one and I didn't drive last year. But I've heard a lot of complaints about the teacher parking spots and how like students have had to move their cars because they were parked there, and then they had to park in the back lot. So I don't think it is an improvement.
What's one thing you change about it and why?
That tree they cut down, we want it back.
Thank you.
This has been Josh Weller with New Additions, and back to you, Peyton.
South Fork High School over the years has been slacking on their technology, but now that Mr. Willer has joined the staff, it's been on the rise. Tucker has some insights into our new technology. Great story, Tuck. South Fork is all about welcoming their new students. We have many new students this year who have made many friends by joining clubs or playing sports. Mackenzie gets to talk to all the new students and how they like it.
Hi, I'm Mackenzie, and I'm with one of South Fork's new faces, Kamarcus Ivy. So Marcus, what has been your biggest challenge so far at South Fork High School?
It would have to be the extracurriculum activities because I started school late and I had to do a lot of catching up work from DHS to South Fork High School.
Okay. Are you enjoying it here so far?
Yes, I am.
What is something in the school that you wish to change and why?
It would have to be the cockroach problem because they're everywhere. They're in stalls and everything like that. So maybe that could be changed.
Okay. What do you like about South Fork?
A lot of things. One of them would be drama. Drama was a big problem at DHS. And at South Fork High School, it's so peaceful. No one really gets into fights, drama, nothing like that.
Okay, and do you notice any bullying around the school?
Not really.
Okay, and thank you, Marcus. And that was Kamarcus Ivy. Hi, I'm Mackenzie, and I'm with another one of South Fork's new faces, Kamarion Ivy. So, Kamarion, what has been one of your biggest challenges so far at South Fork High School?
Passing freshman year and playing sports. Because I didn't play sports in Danville like that and I didn't go to school for a whole semester. So, yeah.
Okay, are you enjoying it here so far?
Yeah.
What is something in the school that you wish to change and why?
None.
Nothing?
No.
Okay, what do you like about South Fork?
People, the teachers, some of them, the coaches, yeah, that's it.
And do you notice any bullying around the school?
No.
No? Okay, and thank you, Marion, and that was Kamarion Ivy. And I'm with one of South Fork's new students, Zoe Hamilton. So Zoe, what has been your biggest challenge?
Getting to class on time.
How are you with that? Are you enjoying it here?
Yes.
What do you like about South Fork?
Everybody's really nice.
Do you notice any bullying around the school?
No.
And what is one thing you would change about the school and why?
Probably the PE.
Thank you, and that was Zoe. Hi, my name's Mackenzie, and I'm with one of South Fork's new students, Danny Smith. So, Danny, what has been your biggest challenge?
Being gassed alive.
Are you enjoying it here?
No. I mean, sometimes. No, not really.
Why?
It's not that great. Because neither is any school. So.
Okay, what is something in the school you wish to change and why?
Air conditioners. There's not enough of them. Not nearly enough.
Yeah. And what do you like about South Fork?
Teachers are pretty chill. Some of them.
Okay, and the last question, do you notice any bullying around the school?
No.
Okay, and thank you. And that was Danny Smith. So hi, I'm Mackenzie, and I'm with one of Saltfork's new students, Nick Gaines. So Nick, what has been your biggest challenge? Are you enjoying it here? Why is that?
The cockroach.
Cockroach problem? What is something in the school you wish to change and why? What do you like about Saltfork?
Nothing.
And do you notice any bullying around the school? No. Okay, thank you. And that was Nick Gaines. Hi, my name is Mackenzie, and I'm with one of Saltfork's new students, Ronnie Pate. So Ronnie, what has been one of your biggest challenges so far?
Keeping my grades up in school.
Okay, are you enjoying it here?
No,
Why is that?
because they don't have enough air conditioners.
Okay, what is something in the school you wish to change and why?
Teachers, because they're mean.
Okay, and what do you like about Saltfork?
The kids here are nice.
And do you notice any bullying around the school?
No.
You don't?
No.
Okay, and thank you. And that was Ronnie Pate. Hi, my name is Mackenzie, and I'm with Saltfork's new biology teacher, Mr. Slack. What has been your biggest challenge as a teacher?
Probably just getting used to being here. It's a new place. That's about it. So far, all the students have been pretty good, so it's not bad.
Okay, why do you want to work for our school district?
It's a nice small school district. The kids are pretty good, and I don't know. I just like this district so far.
Okay, how can you help our school and its students?
What's that?
How can you help our school and its students?
Through our FFA program, just getting kids involved in the community and doing community service and doing service projects like that.
Okay, what is something in the school you wish to change and why?
Probably the heating in my room because it gets pretty hot sometimes, I'd say. But I think that's just overall in the whole school. It gets pretty warm.
Okay, and what's the biggest challenge today's students face?
I don't know. That's a hard question. What would you say the hardest challenge that students face?
I'm not sure.
Not sure. I'd probably say students studying for tests and studying for projects. I'd say that's probably the biggest struggle for students so far. But that's all I've noticed, so.
Okay, and that was Mr. Slack.
Awesome.
Thanks, Gooch, with the Gucci Report. The most entertaining thing at Saltfork is our sports programs. We offer the chance to play football, golf, wrestling, cross country, soccer, basketball, track, baseball, softball, and swimming if you would like. During the winter season, you have men's and women's basketball that will always be taking place during the week. During this time, the off-season for all of the sports is very important. We have the brand new weight room that is used every day, along with speed training sessions held every day after school by the reigning state champion track coach, Phil Superna. Kyler Bennett has taken the time to talk to some other winter sport athletes and coaches, and also those who plan on using the weight room this offseason.
Thanks, Peyton. With the conclusion of fall sports, Storm is already transitioning into basketball and wrestling. Last year, boys basketball went 16-12, and girls went 19-13. They are both looking to improve their records from last season and bring some trophies back to Saltfork. Here are some of the interviews with some of the players and coaches. I'm here with Mr. Johnson, head basketball coach of the boys basketball team. Last year, the team went 16-12. How do you plan on changing this season?
Well, you always want to be better than you were the year before. It's important for us to grow as a team, get better at some of the important details of how the game's played, how we want to play it. I think it's important for our guys to be good on all three phases in defense, offense, and in transition. And so we're fortunate enough to have a lot of experience back, 8 seniors. You can't really, it's the first time I've had a group where I've had 8 total seniors being, part of the program. So having that many kids that are experienced in that age, it's a good thing.
Who are you most excited to play?
Oh man, I'm excited to play everybody. The first game always has challenges to it. The upcoming schedule altogether is pretty tough. So each game is just as important as the next one. So every game really it gets me excited. There's not one that excites me less, I should say.
How does this team set apart from the last year's?
I think the experience factor plays a big role with a lot of guys that have played a lot of varsity basketball, and then just the overall amount of seniors that we have. Having a plethora of older guys is going to be helpful to be able to compete every day in practice and get better.
All right, thank you. I'm here with Logan Appleman, a returning starter for sophomore Storm boys basketball. How do you predict the season to go?
I think we have the opportunity to make a big run, just depending on how well we put our team together this year.
What makes you like basketball?
I just, in general, like the sport more than I do other sports.
How hard is practice on a scale of 1 to 10?
The first 2 weeks is probably like an 8, because it's more hard on your body than it is on anything else, because we just run a lot.
Thanks. With Mr. Russell, head girls basketball coach. Last year the girls went 19-13. What are you doing differently this year to improve on that record?
I think we're focusing more on trying to be a little more balanced, and then we added Madison Kirby, who graduated last year, to our staff to help give a little different perspective to the girls to see if we can improve our record.
Who on the schedule are you most excited to play?
I think right now there's probably 2 teams that I'm most excited to play, Bismarck and Oakwood, because those 2 teams are probably considered the top 2 in our county, and they have the most returning players. So it'll be interesting to see where we stack up with them.
What makes this year's team different from last year's?
We're definitely going to have to be more balanced. We're going to have to find different ways to score and focus a little bit more on our defense.
All right, thank you. Good luck this season.
Thank you.
I'm here with Josh Miller, an Oakwood Salt Fork wrestler. How do you predict your season to go?
I think we'll win the conference.
Yeah. How much do you like wrestling?
I really like it because it just gives me something to do in my spare time.
What match are you most looking forward to?
Hayden Gomez.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how hard is wrestling practice?
Yes.
Salt Fork only offers basketball and wrestling for winter sports, but other programs like football and weightlifting club are looking to get better this offseason. The administration has recently updated the weight room with the help of other sports teams and the community through fundraising. Here are some of the interviews with people involved with the weight room. The new weight room includes these new power racks, which are adjustable racks that athletes can do a majority of their core lifts, such as bench press, squat, and incline press, with very minimal time in between. Some of the new also do things in the weight room are the new sets of dumbbells and matching balls. They also included stationary bikes, which allows for students to have a form of rehabilitation with injuries at the school. I'm here with Mr. Trumpeter, advanced PE teacher and weightlifting club. How much of a difference is the new weight room compared to the old?
Well, it's a lot more organized in here now. Everything is in place. We have dumbbells that actually match now. And once we get all the updated weight in here and all the old out, it's going to be really nice.
What will this weight room give to an athlete?
Probably an opportunity to get a lot stronger. The new weight room is a lot more efficient with the way it's set up. And it should be a lot easier for coaches to coach and get kids on the proper lifting programs in here.
All right, thanks. All right, I'm here with Mrs. Plummer, a PE teacher at Salt Fork High School. Do you think the new weight room encourages more kids to lift?
I believe it does, because there's a lot more options to involve everybody and all of their interests.
Do you like the new weight room personally?
I love the new weight room. I like new weights, and there are a lot of options for me to use.
What would be one thing that you'd add to the new weight room?
I would add cables, a cable machine. So there's a lot of different lifts that you can do and a lot of choices with weights.
I'm here with Levi Upas, a returning starter for the Salt Fork Storm football team. How do you plan to use this weight room this offseason?
I plan on bringing in the football team and all of us getting stronger and faster.
Do you like the new weight room?
I do, but there's some things about the old weight room that I miss.
What is some things that you'd add or change to the new weight room?
The leg press machine and the calf raisers machine.
Thanks, Levi. This has been Sports with Kyle Bennett. Back to you, Peyton.
Owen Garrett.
Set, go! Back, biscuit! Speed parallels the ground and ceiling. Okay, ready, go! Go!
Yeah.
And others. Hey, back up, back up, back up.
Cheater.
He's only cheating himself.
Yeah, Owen Garrett.
Set, go!
What's up? I'm with Logan Appleman from the Salt Fork Track Program. He's a senior this year. What are you most looking forward to this season?
Looking forward to four-peat and wait, is it conference or conference? 4 years in a row.
What's your opinions on Phil? Super now.
Greatest coach around.
Facts. What will you do after high school?
Wear both my rings.
You heard it there, folks.
Unless your car gets stuck in the snow, I expect you to come to the show with your shorts. Don't wear shorts, or you might end up a little chilly while looking quite silly. We hope you all have a safe winter. We here at SFS today want to say thank you for watching and wish you a very Merry Christmas, Happy Kwanzaa, and a Happy New Year. Peace.